Look at your phone. Right now, open your screen. Look at the top corner where the time is ticking. Or better yet, open your calendar. Look at the grid. USC, rows of boxes. 7 boxes in a row. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then, the line breaks. A new row begins. It drops down and starts all over again. You plan your life around these 7 boxes. But have you ever stopped to ask why? Why 7? Why not 10? 10 makes sense for math. 10 makes sense for counting money. But we do not live our lives in 10s. We live our lives in 7s. And this small fact, hiding in plain sight, holds the secret to how the universe was built. Think about your kitchen at 2 in the morning. The house is dark. The world is quiet. But your mind is loud. You feel a heavy weight on your chest. You feel deep, spiritual exhaustion. You feel like you are running on a giant wheel. You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you sleep. Monday becomes Tuesday. You push through the week waiting for the weekend. When the weekend comes, you do not feel rested. You are just pausing before the wheel spins again. Your work is never finished. There is always another task, another bill to pay. People call this the modern trap. You sit on the sofa on Sunday night and feel the Sunday sadness. You feel guilty. You think you should have done more. You blame yourself. You think you are lazy. You think you just need a better schedule to fix your life. I want to stop you right there. Listen closely. It is not your fault. It is not that you are lazy or unorganized. You are suffering from the invisible drift. You have been cut off from the ancient rhythm of completion. The modern world has lied to you. It has taught you that time is a flat line going forward forever. The world tells you, time is money. So, you try to pack as much action into those hours as possible. You treat your days like empty boxes. You must fill with noise. You are terrified of silence. But the ancient mind did not see time this way. The people who wrote the Bible, the ancient Israelites, saw time differently. They saw time as a circle. They saw it like breathing lungs, in and out, work and rest, beginning and completion. And the map for this breathing was the number 7. To them, 7 was not just a quantity, it was a clear message. When you read the book of Genesis, the first pages of the Bible, you see the story of creation. God creates the world in 6 days. He makes the light, the water, the land, the plants, the animals, and the humans. He shapes the dark chaos into beautiful order. But the story does not end on day 6. If the story ended on day 6, it would be a terrible tragedy. It would be a story of endless work. It would feel exactly how you feel on a Tuesday afternoon when the emails never stop. It would be pure exhaustion. Instead, the story reaches a peak. On the 7th day, God stops. He does not stop because he is tired. He does not need a nap. He stops because the work is completely finished. The number 7 in the ancient world meant exactly that: completion, wholeness, absolute perfection. When God rests on the 7th day, he is putting a golden crown on his creation. He is looking at the world and saying, "It is enough. It is perfectly balanced." Think about that word for a moment. Enough. How often do you sit at your kitchen table, look at your life, and say out loud, "It is enough"? Probably never. The modern world trains you to always want more. We think if we stop moving, we will fall behind. We think our human value comes from how much we produce every single day, so we keep pushing. We ignore the 7th day. We ignore the deep concept of completion. We live like we are stuck on day 6 forever. But the ancient writers refused to live that way. They hid the number 7 everywhere in their texts to remind us of this profound truth. From Genesis at the beginning to Revelation at the end, the number 7 is a divine code. It is woven into the very fabric of the words they wrote. They used numerical symmetry to teach profound spiritual truths. They wanted to show us the universe is not random chaos. It has a grand design. The master architect built a beautiful rhythm into the deep bones of the earth. When you ignore that rhythm, your body and mind break down. Your brain gets foggy. Your spirit feels dry. This is the true diagnosis for your modern pain. You are trying to live a 6-day life without the 7th-day crown. You are trying to build a tall house without ever putting a roof on it. You just keep adding heavy bricks until the walls shake and the wind blows it all down. But there is good news. We are going to fix that today. We are going to go on a fascinating journey through ancient history and human psychology. We will look at how this single number, the number 7, can completely change the way you see your life. We will uncover the hidden secrets of the ancient Israelites. We will see how they used this powerful number to survive terrible wars, long famines, and lonely exile. We will learn how to bring this divine completion into your messy, everyday life. This is a rescue mission for your precious time. This is about taking back your inner peace. So, take a slow, deep breath. Look at your calendar one more time. We are going to turn those 7 boxes from a stressful prison into a beautiful palace in time. Let this journey begin right now. Let us step into the ancient blueprint. It is time to find your completion. To truly understand this, we have to perform a little word surgery. We need to look closely at 2 common English words you use every day, but have probably forgotten their deep ancient roots. The first word is 7. Itself. In the ancient Hebrew language, the language of the Old Testament, the word for 7 is Shiva. But Shiva call is not just a number. It is also the root for the word to swear an oath, when 2 people in the ancient Middle East made a binding promise. They would literally say they were sevening themselves. Imagine you and a neighbor agreed on a boundary line for your farms. You did not sign a paper contract. You swore an oath. You sealed the deal with 7 sacred acts. Perhaps you brought 7 witnesses, or offered 7 animals as a sign of absolute trust. This changes everything about how you read the Bible. When you see the number 7, you are not just counting objects. You are seeing a giant neon sign flashing the word promise. You are seeing an unbreakable oath. Think about the story of Noah. After the great flood washed the world clean, a rainbow appeared. It was a sign of God's promise never to destroy the earth by water again. Look closely at a rainbow next time. It has exactly 7 distinct colors in its spectrum. It is a visual Shiva. It is the oath painted across the sky in light. The second word we must open up is the word Sabbath. You have heard this word. It usually means a day of rest, or perhaps it sounds like a strict religious rule from a long time ago, something heavy, something boring. But the root of Sabbath in ancient Hebrew simply means to stop. It means to cease. It means to drop your tools. Think of it like a micro-metaphor. A Sabbath is not a heavy chain tying you to a chair so you cannot work. A Sabbath is a pair of scissors. It cuts the rope that is pulling you toward endless anxiety. It is a sharp, clean cut, snip. The rope breaks. You stop pulling. Another way to see it is this. Rest in the modern world is like a battery charger. You plug your phone in just so it has enough power to keep working tomorrow. We sleep just so we can work more. We use rest as a tool for more production, but the ancient Sabbath was entirely different. It was not a battery charger. It was a golden throne. When you sit on a throne, you are not getting ready to go dig a ditch. You sit on a throne because the kingdom is secure. The battles are fought. The borders are safe. You sit because you have sovereign control. When you practice true Sabbath rest, when you embrace the 7th day, you are stepping up to the throne of your own life. You are declaring that your worth is not determined by the emails you sent or the money you made that week. Your worth is complete. It is Shiva. It is a finished promise. The ancient Israelites understood this deeply. The number 7 structured their entire existence. They rested on master rhythm, day. But they went much further. They also had a rhythm for the land. They farmed their fields for 6 years. They planted seeds. They watered the dirt. They harvested the grain. They worked hard, sweating under the hot sun. But in the 7th year, the land was given a Sabbath. They let the dirt rest. They did not plant a single seed. To a modern farmer, this sounds insane. This sounds like financial ruin. But the ancient farmer knew something we forgot. They knew that if you push the earth forever, the soil dies. It turns to dust. It loses all its nutrients. The struggle to trust the land to provide during that silent 7th year was a profound test. It was a terrifying hallway of faith. They had to trust that the 6 years of work would sustain them through the year of silence. They had to believe the oath of the Shiva. And this rhythm expanded even wider. After 7 cycles of 7 years, meaning 49 years, they celebrated the 50th year as the year of Jubilee. This was the ultimate completion. In the year of Jubilee, an incredible thing happened. All debts were forgiven. If your grandfather had lost his farm to a rich neighbor because of a bad harvest, the farm was returned to your family. If a man had sold himself into slavery to pay a debt, he was set free. Everyone went home. It was a total, society-wide reset button. The chains fell off. The slate was wiped clean. The heavy burden of endless debt, the feeling that you could never catch up, was completely erased. Imagine that feeling today. Imagine waking up and finding out every single debt you owed was gone. Your mortgage, your credit cards, your student loans, gone. Poof. Because the cycle had reached its perfect completion. That is the power of 7 in the ancient mind. It was a built-in rescue system for human beings. The ancients knew that humans naturally mess things up. We build inequality. We work ourselves to death. We exhaust the soil. We get trapped in debt. The number 7 was the divine safety net. It was the rhythm that prevented society from destroying itself. It forced people to stop, look at the sky, look at their neighbor, and remember they were part of a larger, perfect design. This rhythm was so important to the writers of the Bible that they did not just talk about it, they embedded it into the very words they wrote. They became literary architects, building invisible temples out of syllables and sentences. Let me show you how deep this goes. To understand how powerful this hidden architecture is, we must look at 2 contrasting stories from the ancient past. We must look at what happens when a culture completely ignores the rhythm of 7, and what happens when a broken people use it to survive. Let us look at our first story. Imagine the greatest, wealthiest city of the ancient world. Babylon. If you lived back then, Babylon was the center of the universe. They had giant walls, so thick you could race horses on top of them. They had the famous hanging gardens, a miracle of water and green leaves in the hot desert. They had gold, strong armies, and endless food. They had absolutely everything a society could ever want. But Babylon had a fatal flaw. They had the wrong mindset. Their culture was built on the idea of endless production. They believed in the straight line of time. To the Babylonians, human value was measured by how many bricks you could make in the hot sun. More bricks meant taller towers. Taller towers meant more power. They never said the word enough. They never stopped to crown their creation with rest. They squeezed their land for every drop of water and every piece of grain. They worked their captive slaves until they died, and then they just got more slaves. Babylon looked like a giant, powerful machine. But a machine that never turns off will eventually melt its own engine. And that is exactly what happened. Despite having everything, Babylon fell. Their endless hunger for more destroyed them from the inside. When a new empire knocked on their giant gates, the city was already hollow. They collapsed into the dust of history, leaving nothing but broken bricks in the desert. They failed because they rejected the rhythm of completion. Now, let us turn to our second story. It is the story of the ancient Israelites, but not in their golden age. This is the story of them at their absolute lowest point. In a cruel twist of history, the powerful Babylonians conquered the Israelites. The Babylonian army smashed the city of Jerusalem. They burned the holy temple to the ground. They took all the treasure. Then, they gathered the surviving Israelites and dragged them across the desert to be prisoners in Babylon. The Israelites had nothing. Their homes were ashes. Their holy buildings were gone. Their independence was stolen. By all normal rules of history, this should have disappeared completely. When an ancient tribe lost their land and their temple, they usually vanished. They blended into the conquering empire and were forgotten forever. But the Israelites did something incredible. They succeeded in surviving through the right mindset. They did not have physical weapons to fight Babylon. They did not have wealth to buy their freedom, but they carried a secret architecture in their mind. They carried the rhythm of the number 7. In the middle of the loud, busy, endless production of Babylon, the Israelite captives did something radical. Every 7th day, they stopped. They could not go to a physical temple to pray because it was burned down. So, they decided to build a temple in time instead of space. They built a sanctuary out of hours. Even as prisoners in a strange land, they gathered in their small houses, lit a lamp, and declared a Sabbath. They declared they were not machines. They remembered the deep oath, the Sheva. They remembered that God rested, and so they would rest too. This small act of stopping saved their entire culture. It reminded them of who they were. It protected their minds from the toxic Babylonian idea that humans are only worth the bricks they make. They had nothing, yet they survived the greatest empire on earth because they held onto the divine rhythm of completion. This brings us to a vital psychological truth. You need to understand the concept of the corridor. When terrible things happen in your life, when you lose your job, when a relationship ends, or when you feel trapped in a phase of deep exhaustion, you feel like you are locked in a dark room. You feel like the universe is punishing you. The Israelites weeping in Babylon felt that same dark despair at first. They felt buried under the weight of a giant empire. But the rhythm of 7 teaches us that we are never in a locked room. We are in a corridor. A corridor is a hallway. Hallways are not places where you stop and live. Hallways are narrow, they are dark, they echo, they are uncomfortable. But a hallway has a specific purpose. A hallway moves you from one room to another. The struggle you feel right now is not a punishment. It is a necessary hallway of transformation. The Israelites had to walk through the dark corridor of exile in Babylon. If they had stayed in Jerusalem forever, they might have grown corrupt and lazy. In the pain of losing everything, they were forced to remember what truly mattered. In that dark hallway, they finally wrote down their sacred texts. They gathered the stories of Genesis, the laws, the history, and they wove the magic number 7 through all the pages. They took their pain and turned it into poetry. The corridor changed them from a loose group of farmers into a resilient people of the book. The hallway was hard, but it was exactly what they needed to transform. Babylon tried to build a tower to the sky to escape the hallway. They tried to be gods, and they crumbled. The Israelites accepted the hallway. They walked through the dark, holding the small oil lamp of the Sabbath, letting it show them just one step at a time, and they walked right out the other side into eternity. Let us bring this grand history right down into your kitchen, right down to this exact moment. You are not an ancient prisoner of war. You do not live in the dry deserts of Babylon, but let us be deeply honest with each other. Sometimes, you feel like an exile in your own life. You feel entirely trapped in a system that demands far more than you can ever give. The modern world is our new Babylon. It is a noisy empire of endless, exhausting production. It looks at you, and it only sees a brickmaker. It tells you that your absolute value as a person is tied directly to your speed. It says you must always be working, always improving, and always moving forward. That is exactly why you find yourself awake at 2 in the morning. You sit at that kitchen counter, and the silence of the house is deafening. The refrigerator hums a low tune in the background. The streetlights cast cold, lonely shadows across the floor. You stare down at your hands. You feel a bone-deep exhaustion that medicine cannot cure. It is not just physical tiredness. A long night of good sleep can easily fix physical tiredness. This is a profound spiritual fatigue. It is the absolute exhaustion of the human soul. You feel like you are waiting for a train that is never going to arrive. You are waiting for the magical day when you finally feel completely caught up with your life. You tell yourself a familiar lie. You say, if I just finish this one massive project, then I will finally rest. If I just make a little more money, then I will breathe normally again. But that day never actually comes. It never arrives because Babylon never stops asking for more bricks. The goalpost is always moving further away. The emails never stop coming in. The daily bills never stop arriving. I want to speak directly to that specific, quiet pain right now. I want to speak to the heavy sadness you carry inside when you think no one else is watching. Hear this very clearly, and let it sink deep into your heart. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not a failure because you cannot keep up with a giant machine designed to never stop running. The guilt you feel for simply being tired is a complete lie. It is a toxic story whispered by a lost culture that has entirely forgotten the beautiful rhythm of divine completion. You have been wandering in a dark corridor. You have been walking through a long, echoing hallway of constant stress and endless waiting. Maybe you are waiting for a scary medical test result. Maybe you are waiting for a deeply broken heart to slowly heal. Maybe you are just waiting to look in the mirror and finally feel like yourself again. That waiting is incredibly painful. The narrow hallway is cold and deeply uncomfortable. It feels exactly like a harsh punishment. It feels like you made a terrible wrong turn somewhere back in your life, and now you are stuck in the dark. But remember the ancient secret we just uncovered. The hallway is not a locked room. It is a temporary passage. It is doing a profound and necessary work inside of your soul. In this quiet darkness, your old, false beliefs are finally falling away. The false belief that you have to be perfectly organized all the time. The false belief that you have to earn your right to simply exist on this earth. This crushing exhaustion is actually an invitation from the universe. It is the world begging you to stop building the endless tower. It is asking you to gently drop your heavy tools. You are allowed to stop. I need you to say those words in your mind. You are allowed to stop. You do not need to wait for a demanding boss or a busy society to officially give you permission to rest. You hold the ultimate authority to claim your own ancient Sabbath. You can build a beautiful sanctuary of time right there at your quiet kitchen counter. Think about the deep, ancient meaning of the number 7. Think about the powerful word enough. It is perhaps the most rebellious word you can ever speak out loud in the modern world. When you look around at your messy house and your endless mountain of daily chores, you have the incredible power to simply say, "It is enough. The work is not perfectly finished, but my time for working is completely done for today." This is not giving up on your life. This is not quitting. This is finally taking your stolen power back. When you bravely embrace the 7th day, you remember that you are a human being, not a human doing. Your worth is a finished, beautiful promise. It is an unbreakable ancient oath. It is a true Shiva. You are completely worthy of deep peace simply because you exist, not because of how much work you produce today. The dark silence of the long night does not have to be a terrifying space where your hidden anxieties attack you. We can quickly reframe that silence. The silence can become the golden throne we talked about. It can become the soft, shining crown of creation, resting gently on your tired head. When the refrigerator hums and the house is dark, let it be a safe temple. Let it be a warm place where you absolutely do not have to perform for anyone else. Your daily pain is entirely valid. Your deep tiredness is very real, but it is definitely not the end of your beautiful story. You are successfully moving through the narrow corridor, and just like those brave ancient captives who found their hidden strength in the darkest of places, you will definitely find yours. You will soon discover that the true power of your life is not found in how fast you can run, but in how beautifully and peacefully you can rest. You are being completely transformed from the inside out. The crushing weight on your tired chest is finally going to lift. The invisible drift is going to stop. You are finding your way back to the deep rhythm of the natural world. You are finding your way back home. When you wake up tomorrow morning, the noisy world will still be there. The modern Babylonian machine will definitely try to pull you back inside. Your phone will light up with fresh messages. The calendar will show you those 7 little boxes again. The heavy demands of your daily work will immediately ask for your attention. The giant wheel of time will attempt to spin you around once more. But you will not be the same person. You will look at the calendar differently. Now hold your own ancient secret. You carry the divine blueprint of creation inside your mind. You know that the 7th box on that calendar is not just an empty space to catch up on chores. It is a sacred oath. It is the Sheva. It is the ancient promise that you are entirely complete. You do not have to fight the giant machine with heavy weapons. You do not have to quit your job or run away to the deep woods to find peace. The ancient Israelites did not leave Babylon to find their Sabbath. They created it right there, in the dusty middle of their captivity. They built a quiet temple of time right in front of their enemies. You can do the exact same thing in your modern life. You can carve out a small, beautiful sanctuary of rest right in the middle of your busy week. You do not need grand gestures. You only need tiny moments of deep truth. You only need a simple shift in how you see your own human worth. Make this real. I want you to take 3 very small, frictionless steps tomorrow morning. Do not try to change your entire life in one single day. That is the Babylonian way of thinking. Instead, use the power of the micro-action. These are 3 simple physical movements that require almost no effort at all. First, before you look at your phone, pick one specific chair in your house. Choose a very quiet spot. It could be by a bright window or at your small kitchen table. This chair is your new ancient throne. It is your safe place, away from the endless demands of the loud world. Make a firm, clear decision to sit there. Second, make yourself a very warm drink. It can be a simple cup of coffee or a quiet cup of tea. Do not drink it while walking quickly around the house. Do not drink it while checking your morning emails. Take the warm cup in both of your bare hands. Feel the solid heat of the cup against your skin. Walk slowly to your chosen chair and sit down. Let your physical body completely settle into the soft cushions. Third, look at a clock and give yourself exactly 7 minutes of complete silence. Just 7 minutes. Set a mental boundary around this tiny piece of time. During these 7 minutes, you are strictly forbidden from planning your busy day. You are not allowed to worry about your incoming bills or your unread messages. You simply hold your warm cup, look calmly out the window, and practice being completely finished. When your anxious mind tries to remind you of your daily tasks, gently speak a single word out loud. Say the word enough. Say it softly to the empty room. Tell your mind that the work will wait. Tell your soul that the kingdom is safe and the deep rest has officially begun. These 3 tiny steps will slowly rewire your exhausted brain. They will gently pull you out of the dark, narrow corridor. You will start to see the mystic rhythm of 7 working its healing magic in your daily life. You will quickly discover that true peace is not a distant, impossible goal. It is a quiet, powerful decision you make every single morning. There are so many people walking through that dark, lonely corridor right now. You definitely know someone who is carrying the exact same heavy exhaustion you feel. You know someone who is awake at 2 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, thinking they are completely failing at life. They are feeling trapped in the endless cycle of 6 days without the 7th day crown. You can be the brave one to help them find the hidden door. Please share this message with them today. Send this directly to a friend who desperately needs a quiet moment of deep validation. By sharing this, you are not just passing along a regular video. You are handing them a golden key to their own ancient freedom. You are helping them break the heavy, invisible chains of modern expectation. If this journey brought you genuine peace today, please tap the like button. In the strange digital world we live in, that simple action tells the invisible system to show this message to other tired souls who are desperately searching for rest. It is a very small way to cast a bright light into the darkness, and please subscribe to Simple Truth by joining us here on this channel. You ensure that we can keep exploring these profound ancient mysteries together. We will continue to take the deepest historical and psychological concepts and make them profoundly simple for your everyday life. We will keep finding the hidden blueprints that make the human experience beautiful. The world is terribly loud, but the truth is always wonderfully simple. You are completely whole. You are perfectly enough. The great work is beautifully finished. Now, go and claim your silent throne. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the ancient rhythm wash gently over you. Tomorrow is a brand new day, and you are finally ready to truly rest.